Hi everybody, this is Renee from Paramount Solutions in Orlando, Florida. I wanted to talk a little bit about old souls today and exactly what does it mean if you're an old soul, or how do you know if you're an old soul. That stuff is kind of important, and we'll get right into it right now. Basically, we are a small privately owned psychic service. We do psychic readings by phone. We have all clairvoyant readers. Some of them can use tarot cards, some are psychic mediums. It just depends on what you're looking for. We also have a few readers who deal with past lives and reincarnation and that sort of thing. So if you're into that, we definitely have people who can help you. If you have any questions about that, call us at 1-800-966-2294. Many times when talking about an old soul, people are usually talking about somebody who is born wise beyond their years. An old soul has kind of like an evolved, calm, grounded, mature, spiritual type energy. And they're usually, some of them can have actually really natural psychic abilities, and they kind of have like a knowing almost about them, just in general, about just things going on. An old soul has, it's actually, when you're referring to an old soul and being reincarnated, it's a lot of Eastern religions actually talk about this. And basically is when you get reincarnated enough, you're actually learning all of the life spiritual lessons that are going on in order to become full circle. So as you get further on in this old soul journey, or in your soul journey, you basically will become an older soul as you're reincarnated into the life. I don't know if that all makes sense, but basically it's believed that sometimes when you are reincarnated, when you are reincarnated from the same energy, is you are basically bringing into this life some old energy that can actually help you spiritually and mentally and physically, even, in order to get to a higher spiritual plane. Anyway, just wanted to recognize some signs that will actually show you if you are an old soul. Old souls seem to look at situations a little differently than their friends. Problems are to be solved, not stewed over. Basically, you're going to take a step back as an old soul, and they're going to kind of make a decision and then go for it. They actually are coming from their own intuition and their wisdom with their old soul energy, and how to look at a situation, how to look at it differently from their friends. A lot of times people who are an old soul, a lot of their friends will come up to them and actually ask them for advice. They're natural advice givers because they're just really grounded energy. There's somebody who's really good with listening. There's somebody really good with caring. They definitely have opinions on different things. However, they're also really grounded energy, so they're not going to go directly into anything harsh. They're just they're a good person to go to for advice, very sound type of energy. Another thing is that will be kind of a trigger if you are an old soul, or if your friend is an old soul, is that the person is very independent, and they can often choose a different path or a creative path that maybe you weren't quite thinking that they would go to. For instance, like they could be, let's say they're studying in school, they're studying education, and then they're like, I think that either, an old soul, with how they're going to look at, going further into education, is they're going to be thinking, do I just finish this degree and move on? Will that give me enough in my life that I'm really happy with that? Or should I keep going in my master's? There's different things that old souls, they just kind of have this knowing energy that everything's going to be okay and that their decisions are going to work. Not saying that old souls don't ever need confirmation of that, but basically is they're kind of a little bit more independent and on a different path than others, and they do choose often a different path than what you would automatically think that they would do. They can be a little bit of a rebel. They can also have a little issue with authority. So sometimes in educational settings that can kind of work against them, but basically it's just part of being an old soul, is that they kind of have a conviction in their heart that they have wisdom that is beyond their years, and that they can actually help. This does not mean that they don't want to listen, though, or learn more. It's just a matter of they just have more of a grounded energy kind of in the center of their soul that they can just keep going forward with. People will also tell people that are old souls that they seem more mature for their age, or they seem old for their age. Maybe they seem more mature than their peers. Maybe they feel more mature than their peers when they go out. Sometimes their closest friends will be older, and sometimes even way older than them, just because that's who they relate to. They're just a more mature type energy. Old souls generally understand that life is short and that you need to look at the at the bigger picture. They can have a bigger worldview than other people. They could also have a worldview that includes that they want to get further on in their spiritual journey. So they may be into meditation, yoga, psychic abilities. They could be into something, even religion a little bit more. All these different areas of a spiritual journey, they're kind of probably looking at as a little bit more of a worldview type thing, but also as something for their energy and for their soul to get energy from. Old souls are generally not super materialistic. They do we all like the finer things. I think that we can definitely say that. But old souls are generally happy with things either way, whether or not they have a lot of material items or not. That's not really their focus. Material items kind of come from more being an old soul than they do giving super duper satisfaction of being an old soul, if that makes any sense. It's something, is sometimes, the abundance comes for the old souls, but it's not necessarily, something that they're more into it for the spiritual journey than for anything material. Old souls are often, they're thinkers. They love wisdom, reflection, taking time to reflect on what wisdom they have, knowledge, and they also love truth. So that's really important too. Old souls usually practice being grateful. They also see life as a spiritual journey. It's an opportunity for spiritual growth and self-discovery, and actually spiritual growth and self-discovery is how they get to be an even older soul for the next life, is because, that's what they're trying to do, is trying to figure out their spiritual path for this life in order to advance onto the full circle sometime in their next lives. A lot of old souls are actually not afraid of death. And it's not that they're going to be daredevils, because that certainly is not something that an old soul would do. They're not going to be huge daredevils. They're going to be more, they know that death is a part of life. It's not something to be feared. It is something that is just part of the transition of life. Therefore, as if you believe that's going to be part of your transition, it's not as scary as maybe just a regular person would think it would be. Doesn't mean that the person wants to die. We definitely do not want anybody dying, but unfortunately, as I think that it is in all of we're probably all going to die at some point. But anyway, you could probably just know that you're not going to be super duper afraid of death if you're an old soul. If you have any questions about this or anything else, please call us at 1-800-966-2294 or check us out at thepsychicline.com. We would love to help you out with any kind of issues you're having. We have excellent readers who work with relationships, business, timing of events, career questions, you name it. We'd love to help you out with it. So call us at 1-800-966-2294.